world will ask you who you are, and if you don't know, the world will tell you.
Welcome to the School of Athens, episode number 16. And this is the final episode of 2024. It's sort of the theme of this one as well. Sort of recapping all the lessons that we've learned.
It's the final episode?
The final episode of 2024.
Are we releasing it in
Oh, we're
2025?
releasing it like, I mean, it's it's taken of January when we're filming it. We're probably going to be releasing it next Friday. So yeah, we're going to be releasing it in January, of course. But yeah, it's everything that we've learned this year. We're very blessed to be able to say that was an extremely successful year. And I think there's a lot that we have learned along the way, meeting amazing people in the industry. And yeah, hopefully the intention behind this video is you guys can hopefully learn some of the, the lesson we've learned and sharing that. And then, yeah, obviously all of us are here to focus on health, wealth, love, happiness, make money online, Wi-Fi money, and get jacked. So
what else is there to do?
What else is there to do? So I think we can sort of jump straight into it.
So this is like the first year we really, I know we mentioned it quite a lot, but most people need to be reminded more than taught. But like we started traveling this year, and I think that's very, very eye-opening. Like this is the year that we like started to travel. And we hit some pretty decent spots as well, like Greece, Bali, Dubai, Thailand. Is there another one we're missing?
South Africa.
I
mean, we're locals
yeah,
here.
we're currently in Onderus. So this is like the west coast of South Africa.
East coast.
East coast?
East coast.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you hear a lot of these young entrepreneurs say, spend your money, travel, networking, and we'll get into networking in a bit. But you hear all these guys saying, invest in traveling, go overseas. And I used to think, that's just a cope for them to just spend money and travel and have a good time. But, obviously me doing that this year and tapping into that sort of energy, I'm telling you guys, I don't, there's obviously levels to this. Don't take all your savings, blow that on a vacation. But you learn so much when you change your environment. I think there's a reason why people say, move out of your parents' house as soon as possible, try and get into a different location, different energy. And I've seen that to be 100% true when I'm jumping between different spots. Currently we're in Onderus right now, and the vibes are just so much different here, vibes. But it's different. There's something to it. And if you load your trip with a certain intention. Let's say, for example, our trip to Bali. Okay, we're currently running, arguably the number one community in South Africa right now.
Well, we are
1,000 members.
Yeah. So that's good stuff, and also we are 121 in finance.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Like we are ranked 121 spot in finance
in the world on
school.
School. It's
which
ridiculous.
Is amazing.
Yeah,
and it's been like. How much? 3 months?
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah. And that entire idea was born in Bali. And, the only reason why we could have thought of that, in my opinion, is because, there was a different energy involved there. We were seeing new people, traveling, moving around, placing ourselves in different paradigms. There was a lot of abundance taking place, a lot of creative work, I don't necessarily think you can dive into, some groundbreaking deep work while you're traveling, because the nature of focus and being dialed in is having a curated environment that everything, like blacked out curtains, you got all your supplements ready, you slept 8 hours, the first 4 hours of the day, you just dive in. I mean, if you're traveling around, you're meeting new places, like finding your food from different places, your work environment in your office isn't really as optimized. But if the intention is to be creative and a bit more relaxed, you can get some groundbreaking ideas that you can then re-implement in your business. And I think you mentioned, previously before Andre and I came to Onderus right now, he mentioned, Sam Ovens. In fact, you can talk about the story of him on vacation.
So like, for 2 years, he didn't take a single day off. And you probably relate to this as well, just like grinding it out,
More.
Yeah, just like doing the most. But when he took like a 14-day vacation and he didn't, like we are on vacation right now, and that was the intention. Like we literally said we're not going to work, and now we are basically working. So yeah, but it's a nice location, so we're gonna obviously use that. But he took a 14-day vacation, and he said it's like literally groundbreaking. He said no to clients. he declined money, and he
left his
after
phone
that,
and laptop at
yeah,
home.
that's important. Like
Yeah.
he left his laptop and phone at home, so like he didn't even bring that with. He just like went out fishing, like not a Sam Almond's thing to do, but like back in the day, he was like extremely disciplined, and now he literally schedules that in his like sprints. Like he does a 3-month sprint and then like a 10-day vacation.
Yeah.
You just get your mind can then process the things you've actually done in those 3 months. But when you're constantly just down, you can't really think of new things. Like that's why
100%.
the switch up of environment is so good. And now he just like schedules it in every single quarter essentially.
And I also think a big thing that I've learned this year, especially when it comes to traveling, still keeping to that point, is when you start placing yourself in these ideal situations that you've always dreamt of, traveling to Dubai, or getting the Porsche or the Ferrari, staying on the Palms, that was sort of a dream of mine for some time, meeting up with some high-level individuals. You get there, you experience that, and then you realize, it ain't all that. It's not. It's cool and it's nice, but it's not all that. And I think and there's people that work their entire life to get into a SF90 or a Rolls Royce or something like that. And when they get in it, then they realize like, oh my word, did I enslave my entire life away to get this? And, I think a lot of people tend to, be like, fuck, like what did I do? And now me being able to experience that firsthand, I can now reverse engineer sort of my life now, and I can be like, okay, this might not be my end all be all anymore. Maybe I can find, and then you start tapping into the real stuff. Because I think it's so important to have a why behind why you do it. And I think if it's very monetary or very possession orientated, you're gonna be disappointed when you get it, and achieve those stuff. And it's difficult to believe that if you're in a place of lack and you don't have those things. And I still think it's a good idea to have those goals. But I promise you, as soon as you get it, the actual value is in the person that you morphed into to become and to have those things,
To get those things.
Yeah, I think that is very, very true.
I just listened to a podcast from Tim Ferriss and Chris Williamson, and he said, Chris Williamson asked Tim Ferriss, like, what was the thing you thought would bring you the most happiness when you were younger but didn't? Ooh. And he said the number one thing was money. And he says, like, still get the freedom, do all of that, 100%. Like, this shouldn't be a cope for you to say, oh, no, I'm just not going to make money. We can definitely touch on that also, like, transcending the game. But, like, first get the stuff, and then you can realize, come to that conclusion on yourself. Because, you can hear these things, everybody says it, like, Tim Ferriss, like, money is, it didn't really, be up to standard to what he thought it will be, but you first need to actually acquire it, and then you can say, okay, it's not all that.
But it's so easy to say that if you're ignorant to the things that come from a lack of money because you have money, It's like you don't really know how your life would have been without money. And so, I mean, I can 100% say my life has only become better with more money. Like, I don't think it's a bad idea to try and, pursue more money in abundance, but I think it's how you use that money. And I also think the way you get that money is more valuable than the money itself. If you look long term, making more than a certain amount, after a while, I don't think it's very valuable to have the main goal to be, let's make more money. I think there's a lot of value in doing something every single day that you really enjoy. And that is something that is difficult to sort of, how should I say, like process, because there's a time that I really didn't like anything I was busy working on. But now currently building, this community, doing that, working on myself, my own brand, like that is the most purposeful thing I've ever done, because I also see the value it gives to other people. And that in and of itself is more valuable to me than, money, to be honest. Because I wake up and I'm like, fuck yeah, like let's get in, like let's do it. And that's what it's about, cultivating a life that you actually want to live.
Yeah, like Henry Ford said, like, money is a result of service. So, just the more service you provide, the more people you help. And also someone else said, business is just an idea that makes someone else's life better. And obviously you need to learn the sales and the marketing, like that's very, very important. But that's like the first step really. And then from there, all the whole passion thing, you're not going to enjoy it every single day. Like it's definitely going to be hard work, but it's like how do you say this? It's unconditional love for your business. It's like your baby, literally. That's a good way to explain it. You know, like some mornings your baby's going to cry and it's going to cause a headache, but like deep down you still love this thing, and you love building this thing. Well, not the baby, but like, you know, like growing up with a baby and everything like that. That's what it's all about. You're not going to enjoy like the day-to-day every single day. Majority of the days you're not, because it's a lot of hard work and cognitive effort, but you still have like this unconditional passion for this business. That's what it's about.
While we're on that topic, or that part of the topic, you know, something that really helped me a lot was, you know, if you work for somebody else, you are essentially investing part of your time into their little container. Let's sort of see the business model, whatever, or vehicle as a container. You are investing your time into this guy's container, whatever that may be, you know. Let's say you're an engineer or photographer, like let's say for myself, I was working in real estate. I was investing in his dream. What I'm currently doing right now, obviously I changed business models, now I'm building a community. Now I've got my own little jar. Well, essentially we got a jar together, I guess. But, you know, now all my time is going into a jar that I curated and that I deem as purposeful. And now, after 6 to 8 months, you know, working on something, you can look back and be like, damn, all that 6 months, whatever, of time is in this thing, and it's 100%, you know, it's how should I say, it's like exponential growth, but it's like benefiting me now. Because let's say if you really worked hard for your boss, you're just making him more money, and you're investing in a jar, and you don't really find that purposeful. Like you don't, you know, it was not your thing. I think having your own thing and building that, at least for myself, and I'm obviously guessing if you guys are watching this video, you guys are in the same boat, is so valuable. Having your own thing to build. It's
like
amazing.
I've always loved building stuff. Like when I was younger, like Legos,
Like Lego,
just
Minecraft.
like building stuff. And a lot of entrepreneurs relate to this as well. They're just like building and creating. I loved, I like painted a lot as well, very creative. You know, I even did like Lego movies.
No.
Yeah, like Lego Man, and I was just like, I take a photo and then change it up a bit, take another photo.
No way.
Yeah, it's like that motion picture stuff. So like creating that. And it's a whole thing of how Steve Jobs, like he did the typography class, or
Oh yeah, with the fonts.
yes,
Yeah.
but like he thought, what is this bullshit? Like how is this gonna help me? And now that literally
Changed
made
everything.
Apple's fonts. Like that was the thing that made Apple's fonts. So he also said, like, you know, it only makes sense looking back when you can connect the dots.
You can only connect the dots looking back.
Exactly. Like
So-
what you're going through right now, you're like, yeah, this is shit. But like when you're going through challenges, it's shit in the moment, but when you look back, like that's the time you almost felt your most prideful. Or like not prideful, but the most proud of yourself. Like when you went through that, when you look back, like that was the good old days, you know? And when you go through the challenges right now, that just realize that is the good old days in 2 years.
I'm a full believer in the concept of just completely getting lost in your current situation and just doing the best with what you have right now. And then every month sort of revisiting your trajectory. Because all you can really do is play the best hand that with the cards that you've been dealt, you know? And a lot of people, I think, tend to be like, you know, it's like, oh, I don't have this, my family's that, whatever. And I think a very important lesson that I've learned in 2024 is it's not a lack of resources that's withholding you back from success, your goals, whatever. It's a lack of resourcefulness, you know, withholding yourself from tapping into what you already have. And that might, you know, come in the form of limiting beliefs, paradigms, beliefs that you have sort of
It's
start
three things.
believe.
So three things. It's the character traits, skills, and beliefs. It's those three
Wait,
things.
repeat that quickly.
So character traits, skills, and beliefs.
Yeah, that's
so those.
100%.
It's like a ladder you are climbing. And if you can't get to the next level, it's one of those three things that are holding you back.
Yeah.
And skills is the easiest one to learn because you know you can become proficient at any skill in like 20 hours. So let's just say 2 hour days. 10 hour
rule.
days of 2 hour. 2 10-hour days. You can become like proficient in ads, social media marketing, like anything. And then it's the traits. So that's like also pretty, well, like discipline, consistency, that type of thing. And then it's the beliefs. So that's like the one most people struggle with the most. They feel like they don't deserve it, all of that. And where did I find this? It's like faith has 3 stools. and you need these three to essentially, get what you want out of life. So it is. So number one is I can do it. So like your capability. So that's essentially skills, and then I deserve it. So that's like beliefs, and then I will get it. Which one is that?
That's like pride, ego.
But what it says here is like universe is working for me. Like I will get it. And a lot of people, right? Like, I would say it's more like the rappers. Like they have just like this insane level of confidence. Like I watched a rapper YouTube video just to see like they are just so confident, and they have these two. They have the I deserve it. It's like I'm gonna be rich like no matter what. Like and I will get it. It's like inevitable. And I think they focus on the skills maybe last. Like, Kanye West, he was like, I deserve it and I will get it, before he even had any skills whatsoever. And that's a big trait of entrepreneurs, is like 100% they all believed they would achieve it before they did. Yeah. And even like someone asked Iman on a recent YouTube video, he was like, someone asked him, did you believe like you will achieve all these things? He's like, of course, like how else did it happen? You have to believe.
I think like even let me try and counter that. If you take someone, this is what he says.
Oh yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
Okay, with Chris Williams. So this is at least what he says. Now, Andrew made a good observation. It doesn't look like that, but essentially Chris Williams says, he doesn't believe in himself. He has complete imposter syndrome, and yet he still achieved it. And his entire thing is all about just doing the thing. And so
Alex Hormozi is also like that.
And so, if you, and this is also like, I created a module, the Cornerstone of Clarity in the School of Athens, 1.2. It's a great module. Go and have a look at that. So
absolutely free, by the way.
It's 100% free. So
just for your email.
So, wait, I almost lost my train of thought now. Chris, your current self and your ideal self, okay? And essentially, the only thing that's withholding you from becoming your ideal self is to do the thing. But part of doing the thing is you have to work through friction, okay? And there's a lot of ways to sort of decrease or reduce the friction. And part of that is just, affirmations, visualization, networking, actually believing you can do it. Because if you believe you can do it, it will lead to take more action. And so, obviously Chris Williams says he's an example of taking action, even not believing in yourself. And I think that's a leap of faith. And I would say I relate a bit more with that. And then there's a certain point that you get where you are like, okay, now I see the results of my labor. And I'm like, okay, shit, maybe I can do this, And I think something that really helped me in that domain, because I'm not someone that's naturally just like, oh, I can do it 100%. Like I found a lot of value in surrounding myself with people that have already achieved it, or that have complete ignorant faith that they will do it that they can do it. And a good example of that is Andrew. And so as soon as I surrounded myself more with Andrew, or started getting to business with him, and then going to networking events of people that already made it, that completely broke down my current paradigm, and it helped me reinforce my new one, or my ideal self.
I need to read this. Reese Wabara, absolute legend. He's got like MD. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. It was like a French word or something. Reese Wabara has got like Twitter, Instagram, just like, he's very, very cool. So he said, someone did a New Year's Q&A, and someone asked him personally, it's obviously personal, so how do you cultivate self-belief? He said, in the beginning, self-belief is borderline delusion. But once you start seeing results, those results fuel your belief. It's like then your competence becomes your confidence, right? But when you've sustained those results for a decade, something very few achieve, you're him, essentially said. And on top of that, being able to look yourself in the mirror and know you've done absolutely everything within your current knowledge and perspective to maximize your chances of success, that's what solidifies your belief even further. Most people can't honestly say they gave it everything. The easiest person to lie to is always yourself.
I 100% agree with this, and that reinforces my current statement, which is it's not your lack of resources, but your lack of resourcefulness that's holding you back. I'm a firm believer in just completely, getting lost in your current sort of whatever you're doing right now, just giving it your absolute best. But it's also very important to analyze your trajectory every month or two, because a lot of people are going very fast, absolutely nowhere. you know, and that's not good. And so you need to sort of try and figure out like, where am I going? But also you need to fucking work, you know. And yeah, that just also reinforces the previous statement, which was what was the previous statement?
You mentioned that you know you relate more to Chris Williamson, where you just do the thing. That I believe, you know, belief comes before ability. So you know that's also a trait that a lot of founders and you know relate to. It's like you first need to, because you won't take. I deep down believe Chris Williamson, like he truly knew he was going to make it, whatever that means. But like, because you will never take action that are misaligned with your beliefs. It's impossible. Like if you believe you will fail, you will do, like even if you do the thing, you will like self-sabotage at the end. Right? Because you can't act out of accordance with your belief system. So belief is first. Like I even wrote that in one of my modules as well. I'm not exactly sure which one, but like it all, like it's this cycle, right? So here's how essentially you can reprogram your subconscious mind, right? It starts with your thoughts, and then that leads to, well, this is how I see it. Thoughts lead to feelings, and I've thought about this quite a lot with like other people and mixing, matching, and all of that. So thoughts lead to feelings. Those feelings lead to beliefs. Beliefs lead to action. So beliefs becomes before ability, and ability is another word for action. Action lead to results, and those results then reinforce your feelings. Like you get a result, you're like, fuck yeah. And that feeling then reinforces your belief, right? So therefore, belief comes before action.
I don't actually agree with that.
Yeah. And essentially, like the circle starts with feelings, you know, beliefs, actions, results. And then there's feedback also in there. But in order to intercept that cycle, right, you need new thoughts. And you do that through reading books and listening to podcasts. Like that's how practical it can get. Just like essentially brainwash yourself with the best thinkers in books, Marcus Aurelius, all those people, and then listening to podcasts. I think like 50-50 is a good split. And also like I listened, or I read a tweet, I don't know, I think it was today, and he said that the only thing that is keeping you stuck is knowledge. Because if you knew how to do it, obviously you would do it. Because like if you know how to do it, and you know if you do this, it will get a certain result, like you can't not take action, right? Because if you know you can do it, and you know this will lead to the result you want, how can you procrastinate? You might, you know, some days you procrastinate, but like, right? So knowledge is the thing that's missing. That's why I think obviously learning is so important.
Let's get back to the main sort of umbrella topic. It's things that we learned this year, and Andrew mentioned traveling. Something that I want to add to that. So I currently only wear 100% cotton and linen and like wool, hemp clothing. And something that really helped me traveling the past couple of months was I only wear black and white. And actually 90% of my wardrobe is black. Oh wow, we're matching. Oh, well, yours is like navy, mine is black.
Navy blue.
But I only wear black and white, and essentially actually only black. And so that withholds me from like a couple of things. Okay, it's like when I wake up, this sounds minor, but it really helps. Like when you start a business, when you have a lot of things going, it sounds stupid, but as soon as you wake up, there's a lot of shit that happens, you know, and you don't want to figure out like, okay, what shirt am I gonna wear with this, and this pants and this shoe, and if I go out, if I travel, it's like, okay, what pairs and shoes and shirt stuff am I packing? I'm just like, everything is black, so everything fits together. Sometimes I'll throw in a bit of white to spice things up, but that has allowed me to buy back a lot of my mental, space. Because now the first thing I do, I know, black t-shirt, black linen pants, and I'm operating. I don't think about anything else. And so when I'm shopping or going out with my girlfriend, I also don't look for what is the new stuff that's in, or maybe I need this jacket or whatever. It's like, I know I got 5 black shirts, 5 white shirts, got a couple of hoodies, all black, linen, cotton, everything I need. I don't need any more clothing. And then when I go out on trips, I take 2 black shirts, 1 white shirt, couple of pants, like linen pants, and essentially that's that. I don't need anything else. And that has allowed me to, not stress about clothing, not have a lot of bags that I'm taking around traveling with, because just essentially like one bag is not a lot of clothing. And yeah, I think that has helped me a lot.
Yeah, like Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs.
Yeah, they do that.
They all do that.
I mean, Alex Hormozi wears the same stuff every single day. Like he's probably the epitome.
The Darwinian outfit.
Darwinian outfit.
Damn.
That's crazy. Yeah, I think we can move on from traveling. Let's talk about networking for a second. I think that's very important. Let me just sort of take this away. So, networking is probably the biggest thing that I've taken away from this year, just because of the value that it is sort of brought to my life. Because everything that has allowed me to take, or that has moved or exponentially, sort of grew or whatever in my life, seeing the return on investments on that was meeting and coming from these people that I've met, like Serge Gutierrez, Nick Setting, Jordan Platten, like all these big guys. If it wasn't working with them, one wouldn't have led to another, like the first relationship I've made led to a second deal, led to a third deal, led to a fourth one, led to where we are right now.
I know where it all started.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, it was not that dinner. It was first, well, yeah, anyway, like you can say it started when I was born, but it was when I worked with Arlen. And he was obviously a big networking guy. He literally had a course, of a community on school actually, pretty early.
What did you? But was his community on school?
Yeah.
No ways.
Yeah, he was actually pretty. Like I really think he should have stuck with that. It's Stripe Accelerator.
Pretty was that cool. On school?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, so you did that for like 2 years ago. He shut that down. And then in that, obviously I worked with a team and everything. And in there was one guy named Will. And he's like the networking guy. So the networking guy, Arlen calls them the glue guy because he connects people. And then, I just check my Instagram. It's called Big Cape Town. I'm like, let's go, like big names, let's go. And then we go to a dinner and we meet people there. And that's essentially from one connection, like everything just, even Nick said that on our podcast in Dubai, like one connection can change everything. Because 100%. then it's up your flow. Like, then, you just need that one connection, and then it's game.
I distinctively remember sitting at that dinner afterwards. We split the bill between all 16 of us, so how many ever people there were. And I could remember, I can't remember exactly what the number was.
I remember.
But how much?
It was 600 Rand.
600 Rand.
Yeah.
But I can distinctively remember, like, it was enough for me to be conscious about it. I'm like, damn, like, this is like what I was making, like 20,000 a month back then. Like that was, how much is that even? 10. That's like a lot of money at that time for me, And I was sitting there, I'm like, what's the return on investment on this?
5% of your savings.
And I'm sitting there like on a dinner. Like, what did I get from this? Literally the next day, Serge Gutierrez put on his story, and he's a production team, whatever. I DM'd them, obviously started off with like, oh, nice meeting you at that dinner, because now it's like, you already know sort of we met or whatever. And essentially that deal, I set up a podcast with him and Jordan Platten. And then, obviously Jordan was happy with the quality of the work, whatever. Then I essentially worked for him for about 2 weeks after that.
And then from this game, like you can then get any entrepreneur.
Exactly. Then I got 2 very good client testimonials that were extremely happy with my work. And essentially that led to another of me actually, with Nick Setting, flying us out to Dubai, first to Greece and then Dubai. One thing led to another. And I would have never known that would have happened if we didn't go to a networking event, And it's easy connecting the dots looking back. I have a background in production because I worked for a real estate agency for about 3 years. Then I moved on to a bit more like production ad stuff in Cape Town. And that led to me doing what I'm doing right now. Now I'm, sort of doing the podcast setup stuff. And everything is just, once again, as long as you take extreme action with whatever situation you're currently in and you revisit your trajectory,
right,
you will be amazed at like where you'll end up. I would never be able to say, a year ago that I would be where I am right now. But I just took ruthless action, and I remember let me pull up my first Instagram post of 2024. I distinctively remember this because it was a photo that Andre and I took at this Stellenbosch cottage that we sort of rented. You remember that?
No.
You don't? You remember that? Fuck that. Let me pull this up.
It was something that happened there, but that's for another podcast.
Yeah, that's for another podcast. Let me pull this up, Jamie.
Oh yeah, we got like some inside joke
Yeah.
because we are always talking to ChatGPT.
Everything we ask, that's something that we learned this year. If you have any question, voice note on ChatGPT, you'll get your answer.
Game changer. Like yesterday, there was like all these settings on the oven, and we wanted to make pizza, and we don't know exactly which one. We were grilling the pizza, and we selected like the fan one, and then it worked.
Yeah.
Just you like, well, it's crazy. Like you take a photo of the oven, and then you say like, which setting is best for making pizza.
Like you'll never need to know anything again. It's like we're sitting there and we had no, because we took out the pizza because it looked good. It was like it was sort of burnt on the top part, but then when I tried slicing it, it was like still raw in the middle.
The dough was still
we
a
were
bit,
like, what is happening? Like, is something wrong here? And then ChatGPT took a photo and he said, it's a completely different setting. But let me show you this post. So, well, this is the photo. Let me just pull that up.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know if you guys can see, but it's like, let me just see if that will focus. No, not gonna focus. Okay. Anyways, it's just like a photo of me, and the caption is 2024, a devotion to excellence. And I can distinctively remember. You guys need to see this photo. Like it's like really. Oh, yeah. Let's move out the way. Come on.
But back.
Oh my goodness. Okay, but you guys get the point. It's like me focusing, staring at the. It's like literally just like, like the complete like take a candid photo of me type of thing, But I was sitting there, and I wrote that comment or description, and I'm like, this year, no matter what happens, everything that I do is gonna be excellent. This is gonna be the best I possibly can. This year was a devotion to excellence, and looking back, my entire life changed this year just because I made that mental switch of like, okay, my resources might not be amazing, might not have the best genetics, not the most money, whatever. But whatever I have, I'm going to utilize and leverage to the best possible, outcome that I can possibly do. And I just, I stuck to that. And at the end of this year, like, this is ridiculous what we're doing right now.
I mean, that's like the very definition of entrepreneurship is use what you've got.
Use what you've got.
That's back to the resourcefulness. And you have advantages of every single aspect. Like, let's say you are just starting out or you are very experienced. Like, you have advantages. Why am I struggling to say that? In both cases. So when you're starting out, like, you can say, you don't have many clients, but this is like devote all your energy to this one client. Like, I want a good testimonial out of this. You have all my energy, 24/7 WhatsApp access or like Slack, whatever. And then you can get amazing results because obviously you're going to put all your time and attention into this one client. But that's not something I would 100% recommend now that I say that, because you don't have any feedback, right? So when you sign one client, that's what a lot of agency owners do. They sign one client and then like stop client acquisition. That is not, don't ever do that. Because you don't have enough reference experiences to what a good service is. So you think you're doing good, but like you actually need like 5 to 10 clients. Have signed 5 to 10 clients to even know what good is. It's like when we started our School of Athens school, right? We onboarded 15 founding members to essentially help us build a good product because, we kind of know, but some aspects, they don't want this, they don't want this. And if you got 15 people who have the same problems and desires, and we just ask them, what do you want? Just as simple as that, you can almost build a product around them. And then if 15 people experience the same problems, desires, everything like that, usually the entire marketplace have the exact same problems and desires.
Keeping on with that theme, I was on a call with the number one, like Max Pearson and them, like I got the number one school community at the moment. And, you were on a call with them and they were essentially talking about meeting up with Sam Ovens and Alex Hormozi and them. And the number one takeaway from their meetup with Sam was him literally just getting lost in trying to get feedback from everybody there. From the videographers to the top tier, like face of the brands, he talked with everybody, just trying to get feedback from them. Do you guys like this update? Do you guys like that feature? Whatever. So that's like the number one thing that I'm currently focusing on with the community. I would say I speak a bit more with people individually, and I want to try and really just get as much feedback as constant as possible from like as many people. and then there'll be a point where, you know, the feedback is going to be a lot less. Because let's say you're getting feedback and you just always focus on feedback, there's going to be a point where there's not going to be a lot of feedback because all the problems are solved, you know. And I think that's like probably a very good way to approach any product or service. A friend of mine is also trying to get into sort of like the, I don't want to get into what service specifically, but he's also like in the health and wealth type of sort of a line of work. You see, what's this fly doing? Just I'm losing my train of thought now. Wait, focus. And he asked me, you know, do I have some like hints for him with the community and stuff? And I told him the number one thing you can do is release the product and then get feedback. And that's the number one thing you can do. Then every single month, get feedback.
You know what they call that? It's MVP.
MVP?
Minimum viable product.
Perfect. That's exactly what it is.
Yo,
Trial and error. You know what I mean?
Risky,
like it's
bro.
like, what is this guy doing? Borrowed social proof. Trying to get into the shot again. Anyways, I think. So we're talking about networking. That is community. What was the main umbrella term of that now? Again, that. What do we
that was the start of the year, essentially.
Start of the year. Networking. We're talking about networking.
Yeah.
I think a good way to sort of go, or a place we can go from that, is reverse engineering your goals. This is something that I've never really done before. But this year I sort of really, especially in the beginning of this year,
we did
I was doing
we did that for our School of Athens.
Yeah. So, but that's something I really focused on beginning of 2024 when I did my ideal self manifesto or self-ascendant worksheet, whatever you want to call it. I was like, okay, who do I really want to be? How do I want to look? How much money do I want to make? What car do I want to drive? Where do I want to live? What type of job do I want to do? I literally just created this ideal version of myself, and I just was like, okay, how much money does this guy need to make? What's like the best business model is going to give me that, you know, sort of revenue stream? And I just started reverse engineering my goals. It's completely opposite to the traditional education system, where it's like, okay, I have no fuck idea what I want to do, but let me just get a degree. Let me just fucking get a degree. What stupid way to do that, to be honest. It's like, now think about it. It's like, you are in your current situation with your most energy, with the least amount of stuff to lose, and and if you don't know what you're doing, but you're just going to go and get a degree, well, that's useless. Because let's say now you know what you want to do, but you got this degree. It's like now you got a sunken cost. You know, it's like you spent 4 years getting this degree and 400,000 Rand. It's like you're gonna feel like an idiot if you don't use that degree.
Yeah.
So let's say you were studying engineering, but you fell in love with fitness. Now you want to do something in fitness. There will be no ways, or like there will be so much friction that's going to work against you to go into fitness. Why? Because you spent 4 years of your life working in engineering, and I want to move to something else. So I think it's very important. Try and figure out what is your ideal self and make it crazy. Dream big, bro. Like, if there's one thing that Andre and I should be, is a testimonial that it's possible to make it happen. And we did it in a year, not even. Like, it's ridiculous.
The magic of thinking big. Like, you highly recommend reading that book. Like, the number one takeaway from that, it was 2 salespeople. Let's just say it's John and Bob, right? And John, like, I think it was like 1900s or something. So I think he was making $25,000. Or let's just say $20,000. Yeah, $20,000 a year, okay? It was like 1900s, good money, whatever. And so John, who making 20K a year, like he had the exact same skill sets, beliefs, traits, like same time at work, everything like that as Bob. Like the exact same, like literal twins. And Bob made $100,000 a year. And John made 20, okay? And he had the exact same like IQ, like they even tested that. And they asked John, like, you know, how did you make so much more money? Or Bob, I'm not exactly sure which one, but like, yeah, you get the point. And then John said, you know, I just think 5 times bigger. That was literally it. That was the only variable. So if there's just one thing you need to take away, is to think bigger, much bigger. And it's obviously much easier said than done. But let's say you set a goal. Like, I really relate to the whole, you know, shoot for the stars, even though you miss that kind of thing. Yeah. Because, you know, let's say you set your goal at, let's just say $1 million a year, which is, you know, for some it's a lot, for some it's not that much. But let's just say $1 million. But previously you thought like, yeah, let's just do 100K. But like, if you shoot for $1 million, you most probably won't hit it, but you'll hit like 600K, you know? And 100K, you might overshoot it and do 120. but like which one is better?
Yeah. And remember the science behind, so the way you approach making 100 or like let's say 1 million a year compared to 100,000 a year is completely different. And so when you approach it with the idea to make 1 million a year, the way you will approach business, the systems, the way you will hire people is gonna be different and more aligned with that $1 million. And yeah, I think there's a lot of merit to that. I mean, you know, coming from a place and making 20,000 Rand a month, like how much is
like
that in
$1,000,
$1,000, 1,100, 1,200, whatever. Compared to where we are right now, like we have some crazy goals, like ridiculous goals for this year. And
so essentially our goal, we're not going to mention it, but our goal is to essentially make 10x more with the school as the agency did last year. Essentially close to that.
we want to get our buyout number this year. Can we mention that? We can probably keep that in there. Yeah. I want to get my buyout number. I think that's a very important goal, or something to have. Who said that? Ty Lopez?
Well, Conor McGregor said that.
Oh, Conor McGregor.
He said like, you know, you want your buyout number, which is essentially, you know, once you've, you know, how do you even say that? Like,
we summed it up very nicely when we walked to the beach. It was like the amount of money needed to never worry about working for finance, you know, or for working for monetary gain. You know, like let's say, for example, $1 million. Like if you have that cash in the bank, you're probably not gonna stand for your boss screaming on you anymore in that job. You know, you're probably gonna be like, okay, fuck this, let me just go and do my own job. If you're working in South Africa, you know, probably if you're in America, you're probably gonna need like 10 mil. But yeah, I think it's like that's a place of complete abundance, knowing that you can do work without worrying about it being extremely successful in the short term, because you know you got this bit of like a backup. And then when you are able to Alex Hormozi always says, you know, he who, or like the guy that's gonna win is the person that can work the longest without seeing any, you know, fruits from his labor. You know, if you can go for 10 years working on a single project without seeing any results and you still do it, you're gonna win. You know,
yeah, like 10 years is quite a lot.
But like if you go 10 years without any results, like you're probably stupid. Like you need to see results of 10 years.
12 months.
Oh,
so
12
the
months.
bar is quite low.
Yeah.
If you can focus for one thing for 12, that's also why it's important to. That's why savings is important. Like savings now is pretty stupid. But like the only reason it's good is because it gives you that mental freedom to really work on the thing without worrying about you know, the bills to pay and that kind of thing. And that's also why investing is so good. It's not necessarily like the S&P 500 or whatever. The reason that's good is because you can then look, okay, when I am 50 years old, I'll have this much, let's say $2 million. Like in South Africa, that's good money, right? $2 million, and then you get like $200,000 a year passively, right? 10%, let's just say. So then you kind of set for money. So now you can take big risks. And the biggest thing why I dropped out is not necessarily the money, it was more the time. It was like, yo, in 4 years, you can build like a massive company, massive. You know, like Apple, Microsoft, all these big companies, they say it's usually around the 7 years, like the averages, whatever. Like it takes 7 years to build something massive. Now you're going to spend more than 50% of that, like, you know, getting a degree that you don't really want because your family says you should do it. You know, that didn't really make sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think a good way to look at this is, you know, let's say you are in a job currently that you don't want to be in. I think a good way to do this is to then save money at least 3 to 6 months that you are able to live on. But then obviously make sure your expenses, your monthly expenses are very low.
Yeah, very low.
Then you utilize that money to buy yourself 6 months. And then those 6 months, you just go balls to the wall and you build a business. And then that business, when you start getting cash flow from your business and you can start then live from that, well, then it's just up from there, you know. And yeah, I think we can move on to the next topic. I want to talk about hiring people, and specifically something that I've found very valuable this year was hiring friends and family. So this might be a bit of a controversial take, but something that I experienced when I was traveling was, you know, it's fun because obviously, okay, I got one of my friends with me, you know, when you start going out, you go to places or dinner stuff, and it's just you and one of your friends, like, well, then you start missing your family, maybe your girlfriend, maybe your friends. And I'm like, I don't really want this luxury stuff and whatever if I can't have my friends with me. And so now something I'm testing right now and I'm trying to sort of get into, and I know Andre and I relate to this a lot, is like trying to get all your friends to level up with you, And so when you win, you want your friends to win so that everyone can go to Bali together, because on the end of the day, Onrus, where we are right now, is cool, it's nice, but whatever. But the reason why it's amazing is because all our friends are here. And so you can be anywhere as long as your friends are with you. It's going to be amazing. And so think about that in business terms. There's obviously some pros and cons to that. But if they are a real friend, they will make sure that whatever you expect from them, they will be able to do. Like if you go into business with someone and you end that friendship because of business, well, then it was probably not a good friend to be with in the first place. So currently, girlfriend, sister, friends. We basically have like a family friend business at the moment.
Yeah, we have like a friend business.
And that's like the best thing, because just like Andre previously mentioned, in 20 hours, you can become an expert in anything. What you can't and what you struggle to teach people is culture, company culture. So let's say, for example, the School of Athens. We currently have 2 family members and, except our appointment set or whatever. We basically like have family business right now, and then me and Andre. And I would say, a very difficult thing to do when you're hiring is to be like, okay, will they fit into the business? Like let's take for School of Athens, for example. We have a certain value system, how we want to be portrayed, how we want to work with people, how we want people to interact with each other. The brand stands for a certain type of value system. And it's difficult to pre-approve people's value systems, and you can't really change people's values, like that's something they initially need to accept from their side. And so the cool thing about friends and family is, well, then you guys are probably all already have the same value system, and they know you good enough so they know how you want to portray yourself, if that makes sense. Does that make sense what I'm saying? And so I think it's better to hire someone from a value perspective or sort of what they stand for, and then you can easily teach them and morph them into whatever you want via skills. Than what it is to then just hire for skills. But then after 3 months, you're like, okay, but the work ethic isn't that good, or they don't talk so well with your clients or stuff like that. And then it's like a completely different issue. In 20 hours, you can become extremely good in anything. And so part of that is just guiding them into the right education. And after 3 months, you got someone that's very proficient in what they want to do. And their value system is like obviously very aligned with yours. And it's obviously one of your friends and family members.
The only hard part is the firing. Like, let's say obviously,
it's tough.
They don't do as good job. You tell them to do things, but they don't really do it up to standard. Like, to then fire someone, like that's the hardest thing ever. Just firing in general. Because, that's like literally their income. That's just like gone.
But it's like if they value you, they will put in the work. You know what I mean? And if they don't, well, then obviously there is going to be a bit of a clash in friendship, but that is then just the nature of it, So obviously you need to be aware of that. But I truly believe that any friend or family member that really wants the best for you and for themselves, if obviously you pay them enough and, then they will put in the work 100% like anyone else.
But the biggest thing really is people like at the top, all of them are competing for talent. Like that's the name of the game there. Like, they're not talking about client acquisition. It's more about talent acquisition at the top. It's all about people. I think in Steve Jobs' biography, it said Apple is just, like in Microsoft, they said Bill Gates or the company Microsoft is just like, Bill Gates' shadow everywhere. Something like that. And also Steve Jobs is just like 10,000 Steve Jobs. Like that's how strict he was. And he says the main priority of a CEO is, actually getting the right people in, hiring. Like that's the number one thing. And, Elon Musk, like he spent, the first 3,000 interviews he did by himself for SpaceX, which is crazy. That just goes to show, like, he obviously values his time and he spends the first 3,000 interviews getting people in for SpaceX. So that just goes to show how important people are, because that's all a business really is. It's like people in the room. Yeah. Like that's all it really is.
Yeah. 100%. And I also think, on the point of people, I think surrounding yourself with the right people is probably the best possible move that you can make. And if the right people is not physical in your current situation, well then books, mentors, and I just previously mentioned that is also the same, thing. Is curating your inputs. Your inputs can be physical people like me and Andre right now, or you and a friend, or networking, or whatever. But also metaphysical, or whatever, can be you reading Marcus Aurelius. And then essentially Marcus Aurelius becomes the person you surround yourself with. And so there was a time that I was very alone. I was like, the winter arc type of thing or whatever. But I was not going out on parties at all, like zero. And in that time, all I did was surrounding myself with all these great minds. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Alex Hormozi, Imam Ghazi at the time. I was even watching Hamza, what's that, First Man. Everybody that you can look up to when it comes to business or in different domains. And I was just curating my inputs, not doing anything else. And that had its pros and cons, but it was the right time for me to go through that. And it's like a lonely phase. It's like there comes a point where you want to be somewhere else, or you want to have a different friends group, but you don't have the value to sort of give them to be in that friends group, but you don't relate to your current ones anymore. So you don't want to be those friends, but you also don't have the value to fit into the new ones. So you're somewhere in the middle, in no man's land, and that's difficult. And I think the best thing you can do there is to cultivate a skill or value that you can give people to then fit into that different or in that next group.
I also don't think it's a good idea to cut off all your homies, high school homies. Obviously don't spend as much time with them. Or it also depends. If they're on their journey as well, cool. But you're also going to be on your journey, and that's going to take a lot of sacrifice. And most of the stuff you're all going to do alone. You have to work on your business. You have to do the sales calls, you have to do the emails. No one, unless you outsource it, you have to do all of those things yourself. So it's going to be very lonely at times. So, it's going to seem very comforting to go back to that friend group because it's the known, right? It's very secure. But when you go out in the unknown, that's where the rainbow, that's where the treasure is the unknown, right? So if you want that, you kind of have to go through this murky, dark forest, and that's it's not for everyone. I'm not going to sit here and say everyone should become an entrepreneur. 100% no. It's, and a lot of entrepreneurs, they said if they knew how much pain, effort, and sacrifice it really took, they wouldn't even have done it. So kind of that ignorant state they were in, got them in entrepreneurship. Because if you really knew how much, you'd think twice for sure.
Yeah, I mean, for me, and let me just write a different point down, but that I want to talk about. But for me, I didn't want to go out to these parties or meet up with older friends just because it reminded me of the version of myself that I didn't want to be anymore. And it was sort of becoming I sort of had a split personality. I didn't want to be the guy partying, smoking, and doing all these things. I wanted to be someone that's worthy of respect, that looked after his health, and that made money. And I felt like every time that I was surrounded by those guys, it was bringing out the version of myself that I didn't want to be. And so it made doing the thing that I had to do more difficult when I was surrounding myself with those friends. And so for me, the best move was to cut that off for 6 months until I could reinforce my ideal self more. And so when I actually was that guy and I revisited those friends, I could be in that environment without me wanting to do any of those things, if that makes sense. But I had to go through that time of fire. And I know previously speaking with you and then obviously with Liam Bradshaw, that's his surname, right?
Yeah.
I know he said he never stopped partying. So I think it's different for everyone.
I was about to say, it's very subjective. I wasn't like that. I had a much more internal locus of control. A lot of people, the external, obviously, it's not binary, it's not yes or no, but I'm more 80% internally I change, and 20% is environment, definitely. Because, obviously I travel and all of that, it doesn't change, like I mentioned, it's 20%, but internally is 80%. So I still, not partied, but, went out, did all the stuff. Obviously I cut most of it out because most of my time was focused on building the business. But yeah, it's much more internal, and it's also subjective. Like with most things, it's not yes or no. It's never like that. It's more
nuance. A bit of nuance.
That's the word.
That's our favorite word. It's a word for 2024. Nuance.
That's the word. On a whole different topic. You want to talk about conscious doom scroll maxing?
Oh my goodness. Conscious doom scroll max. So we got this like, if someone just scrolls on Instagram, they just whip out Instagram and they go through the For You page and the Reels, whatever, that is called doom scrolling. And so a couple of days ago, obviously being on vacation, I told Andrew, I'm doom scroll maxing right now. Like I'm just sitting there, I'm consciously aware of the fact that I'm just scrolling. And that was an insane experience for me. I'm sitting there and I have zero remorse or like I have no regret. Like it was amazing actually. Just sitting there and scrolling. And I don't know what benefit was there that we were talking about.
Anything done consciously is
It's
better than. Damn, I need to write this down. Anything done consciously is better
than nothing done.
No, I got it. Nothing done consciously is better than anything done unconsciously. That's it. That's
well, I need to write that down, bro. I don't know.
So nothing done.
Losing me there.
Nothing done consciously. So essentially, doing anything consciously is better than doing nothing, than being unconscious. So if you are consciously doing nothing, you are meditating. But when you are unconsciously doing anything, you're like a walking zombie. So just be more conscious.
No way. Just be more conscious. Yeah, I think we can move on from there.
Conscientiousness.
Oh, you want to speak about that? Yeah, you can start that. Let me just see how much Andrew always gets this right. What's the recording right now? How long
we've been going?
Yeah.
I would say like 52 minutes.
Ooh, 56.
Okay,
it's not bad.
not bad.
Okay, 56.
So conscientiousness, that's like...
Wait, ask Jamie to pull that up. So essentially
We need to finish that inside joke.
Yeah. So if you watch Joe Rogan, he's producer. I think that's what you call his position. But it's a guy called Jamie. And so whenever Joe Rogan wants to pull up something on the internet, he essentially just says, "Pull that up, Jamie." And so Andrew and I renamed ChatGPT as Jamie. And so in fact, even voice note that. Give the people sort of a example of.
Yo, Jamie, so we are on a podcast right now. Give me I believe it's 5, but just give me the traits of conscientiousness. Yeah, like
Game changer. That right there, that skill that Andrew just did with ChatGPT will change your life. Never ever Google anything in your life again. There's no point of it. Either use Grok. I know Andrew does Twitter.
Yo, Andrew.
Yo, Andrew. Or ChatGPT. Keep it
thing,
on your phone.
Half an hour ago, this is crazy. Like, we asked ChatGPT or Jamie, we were like, yo, Jamie, like, there's this guy, Andrew Kuhn, in South Africa. Give me all of these credentials or something like that. Your one was very, very good. I think we need a better prompt.
It was crazy. It just pulled up my two. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It was so crazy.
But anyway, so the conscientiousness, organized. Orderliness is number 1. So this is actually very important. Like, conscientiousness is the only thing that's science-backed that literally correlates to wealth. So, like science-backed fitness and all of that. Like, this is the only science-backed wealth measure. All right. So number 1 is orderliness, preferring structure, organization. And a lot of people see or look at the Wolf of Wall Street
I think it's messy
and think like, people make a lot of money by being like all over the place, cocaine, deal there, like party. Like, it's not like that at all. It's like complete antithesis. So it's orderliness. Like, even Tai Lopez, he made a YouTube video. He's like, you need to be OCD about wealth. Like, where's this cent going? Like, boom, boom. Meticulous about your costs.
Yeah.
Like, very, very. And then dutifulness, a strong sense of responsibility and moral obligation. So, bearing responsibility, essentially. And if you have these traits, you're much more likely to make a lot of money. Self-discipline, okay, pretty self-explanatory. And then achievement striving, a drive to set and reach ambitious goals. Cautiousness, thinking things through before acting, avoiding unnecessary risks. And then, Alex also has these 3 things like the impulse control.
Let me actually summarize that. So Jordan Peterson he said this in a different way, and I could directly link that to what Alex Hormozi said. So Alex Hormozi just sort of, shot from the hip, and he was just like, 3 things that people need to be successful is crippling insecurity, impulse control, and superiority complex. Okay, and then on a completely different podcast, I heard Jordan Peterson speak about this mouse study that they did. Okay, and so essentially they took a mouse, they strapped a rope against a spring at the back of his tail, and then they put a tube and like a cylinder like tube, and then at the front end of the tube they whiffed the smell of cheese to sort of measure how strong the mouse is trying to get to the cheese with the spring at the back on his the force. And they did the exact same experiment, but they also whiffed the smell of a cat from behind the mouse. And the mouse actually pulled 3 or 4 times harder. I can't even exactly remember what the measurement was.
Ask Jamie.
Ask Jamie. Pull that up, Jamie. But whatever
Jamie,
the amount was.
So, Jamie, we are currently... How do we even explain this? Like, what's the experiment of the mouse where he's in a tube on the one side is cheese and on the other side is a cat?
No ways. No ways.
Terrible.
Jamie's not going to pull that
No,
out.
he's got it. You're referring to an experiment in behavioral psychology.
No ways.
Often used in illustrate approach avoidance. A predator.
How much time stronger did the mouse pull it?
Oh yeah, I didn't even say.
I'm saying 2.8.
2.8? So there's an experiment where they just use one variable, the cheese, and another one where he uses both the cheese and the mouse. How much stronger, the cat. So how much stronger is the second one with the cat and the cheese than the one with just the cheese?
I'm saying 2.8. And we'll get into what this symbolizes when it comes to Alex Hormozi now. Let me just see what it just says here.
I think ChatGPT needs to do it like a bit shorter. Like there's no need to do all these.
All of that. Do you see a amount?
Why this matters.
Anyway, so while Jamie is trying to work that out, essentially, the cylinder or the tube is directly correlated with impulse control. Okay, the mouse wasn't looking at anything else; was just looking at the cheese. The cheese is essentially sort of your goal, or essentially a superiority complex. 2 to 3 times stronger. Okay, 2.8. So that's exactly perfect. So the cheese is sort of like the goal. You need to run towards something, or impulse control, superiority complex is sort of mean like, I am worthy of this goal. I can do it. I'm better than everyone else. I will make this happen 100%.
That's the belief before ability.
And then the last one is the cat. You need to also run away from something, which is then crippling insecurity. So those 3 things. Crippling insecurity, superiority complex, and impulse control. Cat, cheese, and then the cylinder. Yeah. And so you want to run towards something, so have a goal. You want to run away from something, so essentially proving something to yourself or proving other people wrong or whatever that may be. And then the last thing, you need to be able to control your energy and where you place that. And those 3 things, and also impulse control, superiority complex, and crippling insecurity. One thing that all 3 of those have in common is they are terrible for you all like at once. Like if you just have crippling insecurity, that's obviously bad. If you just have superiority complex, it's also extremely bad, but all 3 of them combined is like a superpower.
What about impulse control? If you just
impulse control can also be bad. Like you can't just focus on playing games or just focus on your work. Like you need to also focus on it's like juggling 4 balls: health, wealth, love, happiness. You need to do all 4 of those. There can probably be a better explanation to impulse control, but I think that's a good experiment. Something that do you want to add something to that? Or?
Yeah, we talked about what was it? The buyout number.
Oh yeah.
So there's something I just want to.
That's what I wanted to get to that still. Yeah.
Yeah. So the real winners are those who can transcend the game and not even play. So that's something that Naval said, Naval Ravikant, and we talked about this quite a lot.
We talked about this in Bali. Exactly, we talked about this in Bali.
Yeah. And it's the whole thing of, so the real winners are those who can literally just transcend the game. And the game is like, the business game, the money game, the status game, all of that.
Like the red Ferrari, the mansion, staying in Dubai.
That's the goals, all of that. And just go straight to the conclusion. This will make me happy. Like we just said, Tim Ferriss, or Chris Williamson asked Tim Ferriss, like, what's the one thing, you know, you thought would be this amazing? And he said it was money. So, you know, they all say this, so it's probably true. And we also literally said, but yeah, if you can transcend that, that's like the real winners.
Yeah. It's like knowing that money, like just Andre just said right now, it's like knowing that money won't bring you happiness, but still then playing the game to figure out for yourself, compared to the guy that was just like, oh, it doesn't bring me happiness, cool, then I just won't pursue it. And then he just present. You know, it's like the monk and the business person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something I want to, you know, it's like a different skill that I learned this year was my to-do list and, what's uitgawes in Engels?
Expenses.
And expenses. So I have a to-do list and an expenses list. This is a game changer for me. So I actually do it on notes. And so if you guys can see here, it's sort of like, you know, there's like little blocks and I just tick them off as soon as I do something. And it gives me a bit of like a dopamine spike when I do it. But I don't really like having a complete structure. I want to feel like I have freedom. But I still like knowing that I've done everything I wanted to do. So even though I'm not as controlled or like a structure freak, it's still valuable to see everything you want to do, make a list of it, and then make it happen. And so something that I learned this year was this to-do list trick. It's actually something that I've never seen anyone else do. So I got a daily, then under that a weekly, and then under that a monthly. And then essentially every new week, I'll have my to-do list of every day. And it will change every single day sometimes. But then every single day, I try and add a new weekly goal to that day, if that makes sense.
What's an example of like
so let's say, for example, a weekly goal would be to film a podcast that day or that week. And let's say maybe finish a vlog and let's say finish a module in the community. So let's say then on Monday and Tuesday, I might add the let's finish this module. And then the Monday, I will add, I want to finish the scripts and let's say the slides. And then Tuesday, film it. And then I'll tick those off, you know. And then that also comes with my weekly list. And so that's sort of how I structure it. And I find that to be the best way to do it.
Yeah, I've also done a lot of goal setting stuff. And I used to be like the guy, like late at night, 6 p.m., whatever, like when I'm done with work, write down all my, you know, to-dos for the next day, you know, because your subconscious, goes through it and everything and solves problems, which I still think is good. But like I was doing the same thing every single day. I was like, bro, I'm just wasting time. I'm writing down the same thing every single day because I do the same thing every single day. It's like wake up, do the morning routine, work on a module 4 hours, eat, go for a walk, gym, sales calls, dinner, you know, rest.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing every single day. So I was like, okay, this is BS. And I just do weekly goals now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so only weekly goals.
Yeah. I would say that's exactly what I'm doing. I just like the idea of ticking the other stuff as well, you know, like morning walk, take off, you know. And then another thing that I mentioned, expenses to do, list or whatever. So I got 3 sort of lists here. So I got a business one and then all my expenses. Then I got a personal one with all my expenses. This might seem extremely particular, whatever, but I like knowing exactly where all my subscriptions and how much money is flowing in and out of the business. And it's a lot easier to do it as soon as you do it from the get-go. Like whenever you open a new business, as soon as you get new expenses, pop it in on the list. And now I know exactly what is the amount that I need per month to keep the business going, how much I need for 12 months in advance. Like I want to have at least 12 months personal and business capital in my business cash, you know. Like they call that a runway.
Yeah.
I think 12 months is more than enough. And I like having a budget list. So that might also tie back into the orderliness that Anu just spoke about previously. I don't know if you have a list like that, but I know exactly where every single penny goes in my business. Obviously, when we transcend a certain amount, like when we get very big, it might be difficult to do that. But at this current moment, I find it to be more valuable than not doing it.
No, it's very important to be. You have to be meticulous about your costs.
But like Alex Hormozi can't do.
You know, that story of is Rockefeller the guy with the steel?
I think
or Carnegie. Anyway,
one of them.
Yeah, it's like, you know, they had like this containers, right? And they did 40 drops of metal for like the railways or whatever.
This is crazy.
Yeah, so that just goes to show. So it's 40 drops of metal in this container, and then Rockefeller whatever was like, let's test 39, like one less drop, which is crazy. And it was like, okay, it's perfect. Like, the 40 was overflowing a bit or whatever. Yeah. And then 39 was like the perfect spot. So that's one drop of aluminium, right? And people are just going to say, oh, that's crazy. But over the span of their business, over 5 years with like the amount of volume, which is also important, they saved like hundreds and thousands of dollars in like the 1900s or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you need to be extremely meticulous about your costs and, don't underpay, but like, don't, how do I say this? Like, don't do unnecessary payments. That's essentially it. And, watch where your stuff is going because, like literally with me, 2 subscriptions went down. Was like $2,000, like just out of nowhere. I was like, what just happened? So you need to be,
you need to steward your money. That's a good way to look at it. I'm going to swap out the battery. I'll see you literally in a second. All right, back in the game.
We are back. We are
that's
so
actually,
back.
That's something that I am sort of cultivating now. Every morning I wake up, I look at myself in the mirror, I'm just like, back in the game. And you just...
Oh, I just lost the game.
Get back. Oh my goodness. No, we're not going to mention that. We're not mentioning that on this thing.
Okay, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. We just lost the game. If you know what we're talking about, you need a comment right now.
Yeah, comment the graveyard emoji.
Oh, yeah. Comment the graveyard emoji, yeah. So let's move into a couple of things we learned when it comes to our health and sort of things that we are implementing this year.
I'll actually start off with this one.
Cool.
I've got because...
it's
my number one.
What's the first thing we want to talk about? Like sleep, exercise, diet?
Well, it's morning sun.
Oh, okay.
So like I didn't really do that as much, right? I did it for like a while and then I stopped doing it because I didn't really feel any benefits. But then I started doing it for like 2 weeks and you can like instantly feel the benefits. And I feel like, coming from me, it's going to be pretty good because I didn't do it or I did it and I didn't do it and I'm doing it again. So if that doesn't, tell you that it's actually a very, very good idea. So what I do is I lay in bed and actually like, the window is perfect. Like I got just like this ray of sun at 7 a.m. or like 6:30, whatever, straight through. And I can like read while get my morning sun. And I've been doing it for like, like 3-4 weeks, whatever, game changer. Like so much more energy. It's just amazing. So if you're on the fence and you have tried it, done it a bit, stop doing it, highly recommend.
Is that like the one thing you would say you learned?
Yeah. Oh, well.
There's obviously a lot of things, but you say that's like a big part, a big thing.
Cold plunge is also good.
Okay.
So I got a cold plunge. I do that every single morning. It's like 7 degrees. I want to, like every now and then, maybe like 1 degree lower, 6 degrees for like 3 minutes. Yeah, and it's more. Tim Ferriss, he said he also does that. So Chris Williamson asked him like, what's a morning routine? Cold immersion first thing. So and he does it more he says it's for the state change. So your mental state. No, he doesn't care about the benefits and all that. Obviously, you get that, but it's more like that, state change, like instant energy, 3-4 hours, dopamine through the roof. It's just amazing. So yeah.
I would say the biggest thing that I took away from my health this year was my daily walks. So I have always, or not always, I've probably been walking for about 2-3 years now. But this year, I'm probably on average. Will I be able to pull that up? Not really. I need to get a Whoop band. I know you used to say like I want to get me something like that, but I think I on average walked every single day at least 8K steps. I try and do 10 every single day, but like obviously some days you don't. But I cannot imagine a day without me walking at least for an hour. Like that's something I need to do every single day, and I absolutely love it. I have a stack with it. I walk without a shirt, get sun maxing going. I walk without shoes, I'm grounding. I'll eat after I walk, and then there's for digestion as well. It's obviously for cardio. If you do it fasted as well, it's amazing to burn off fat. If you do it for the morning sun, like Anu just said, you are actually sun gazing. Cardio we just mentioned. And if you pair that with an audio book or something you're learning as well. And then you can do like a compression band or something and like do stretches and stuff while you walk. Like it's the best thing you can possibly do.
It's the ultimate ROI.
It's essentially the best thing you can do. So that's probably the number one thing I've taken away from my exercise. And then also something that's very valuable that I've purchased recently, I know you got the same thing, is an eye mask. Or sleep mask. So a lot of people pay thousands of dollars to put in all black curtains, get all the lights and whatever. I think the best thing you can do is just, pop on a very good 100% cotton or linen sleep mask. Utilia, my girlfriend's got one now as well. It's like the best thing you can possibly do, and helps me sleep. It's like it's literally the best thing. And also a warm shower before you go to bed. So interesting fact, your body needs to drop 2 to 3 degrees before you go to bed. And so when you increase the heat of your body externally, your body internally will counter that by trying to cool it off. And so a lot of people might then say, okay, well, let's just jump in a cold shower, then you're cold, right? Well, no, you're going to lie in the bed, your body's going to try and warm yourself up from the inside out, and you're going to actually jump with body temperature. So if you take a warm shower, your body's going to want to cool off, and so internally you're going to drop 2 to 3 degrees. So that's also helped me sleep a lot. I'd say sleep is something you really need to optimize, and by doing those two things and also avoiding blue light is probably, it's like the craziest game changer.
On the walking topic, I got myself a treadmill desk.
Ooh, that's
amazing.
Cool. Or a treadmill like thing for your desk.
Yeah, like
yeah.
Yeah, they call it. Yeah, anyway,
I
got a treadmill.
Yeah,
and
a standing desk.
Yeah, so obviously you need the standing desk as well. But like that's also, I get my 10K steps easy now, and that's the number one thing when it comes to your deep sleep is like getting 10K steps. Eh?
Well, to move your body, you essentially like if you want to fall asleep, your body needs to be tired, and if you want your body to be tired, it's a different couple of variables that plays a role in that. But a big part is actually burning calories, using your body, tapping into that, so walking will obviously help with that.
Yeah. So what I do. Yeah, so when I'm working on the modules like deep work, I sit down. Like you can't walk and do very deep work. Email, like you can't really type. You like looking for the keyboard. Your fingers are a bit sweaty. It's not that cool. But usually deep work, obviously walk, go to the gym. After that, if I don't have sales calls, I'll just walk and go through a course or an audiobook or something. So put in the AirPods and just walk for like an hour. So easy 10K steps, and it's literally a workout. After that, I shower and all of that.
Let's move on to skincare. So every single product that I put on my body, every single piece of clothing that I wear, or at least let's say 90%, is 100% natural. And I would say the best thing or the biggest part that helped sort of with my skin and my hair health, whatever, my nails, everything, is not even the products that I'm putting on, but it was my diet. And my rule of thumb is 6 eggs, 400 grams of steak, and about a cup or two of berries every single day. That is something I try and live by. I never skip a steak or eggs. That's a non-negotiable for me every single day. And then with the berries as well to fill in some antioxidants and get some vitamin C and stuff like that, like also absolutely amazing. And then try and get a high fiber diet. So, I mean, that is probably the best thing you can do for your skin health and for like your hair and your nails is to focus on a good quality diet. And then by adding 100% natural skin products, something you're not adding any agitation like itchy or things that react to your skin negatively. I only use beef tallow now on my skin and in my hair, and sometimes use stuff like canola oil, olive oil, and sometimes I'll do aloe vera gel if I've burnt a lot. But I would say that's a big thing that I've learned from that. What else do you want to touch on? Supplements? I see you've been recently trying CMOS. Do you have any insights on that or not yet?
Yeah, I haven't really felt anything much with the CMOS. I just know it's good, so I take that. But a thing I've recently started to take again is omega-3. And if you've got if you've been going to the gym for a while, you get that infamous lower back pain, right? After your upright rows or whatever. Like you just have that lower back pain. And I can tell you right now, after a week of using omega-3s, gone. Like totally gone. I don't feel it at all. And I know it's that because I used it and it's gone. So omega-3, and then the supplements, I just do zinc, omega-3. I've been using Togad Ali and also Makarut as well. And Chris Williamson, he did the whole thing of doubling his testosterone, right? From 463 to 1009 or something.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he says it's like the exact same things we are doing. Sunlight, lifting weights. It's not like something crazy at all. I went through the thread, and he said another one was boron. So the stuff I didn't take, like all the other stuff I took, like the magnesium glycinate, lifting heavy weights, sleeping well. Diet wasn't even mentioned there. It was magnesium glycinate, of which I use. And then what was the other one? It's like boron, makaru, tongadali, like something like that.
Yeah.
And he doubled his test. So you don't need something crazy.
To touch on supplementation part, I got a module completely talking about supplementation. I think it's module 1.6. It's the tonics from the temple of. I actually forgot the name now.
I'll put
it up, Jamie. But essentially, I think people should approach supplementation. You need a supplement we should stop supplementing for the sake of supplementation. Okay, that's stupid. There's no supplement out there that's going to boost your taste and it's going to double it. It's like, it's non-existing, okay? We need a supplement for the sake of deficiency. And so always try and substitute tonics from the Temple of Wisdom. So that is the module about, and it's actually 1.7 I see, the free module. We're talking just about all supplements I'm currently taking. I'll get into that in a second. But we need a supplement for the sake of deficiency. But always first, supplement your deficiencies through two things. Your diet and your lifestyle. That's a first trigger you need to pull. You will get a much bigger return on investment by focusing on your lifestyle, your sleep, and your diet than what you would by just adding in some sea moss or maca root. I would say that would be like the extra 20%. The 80-20 here is definitely sun maxing, getting that sunlight, curating, and making sure that your circadian rhythm is set, moving your body. So even if you're doing 10,000 steps a day, it's perfect. Lifting some weights, eating whole foods, and that's probably 80% of that right there.
Probably more.
Probably even more. And so if you obviously have already been there and you want to optimize it even further, supplements that I'm currently taking is also mostly like Andre as well. Magnesium glycinate, vitamin D3 plus K2.
Yeah.
Sea moss is amazing. That's something I've currently, sea moss and Silogit is like my two secret weapons. Like if you're looking at sea moss, obviously coming from under the ocean, so I like eating food that's under but also above the ocean. So sea moss is a very extreme mineral dense supplement or just something that has 92 out of the 102 minerals that's like that pestan, right? That is like that exists. And I also take Silogit, which is a black paste that comes from the Himalayan mountains in India. So essentially above the ocean, also under the ocean. So by drinking those two supplements, you are essentially making up every single supplement that you can be deficient in. You are taking in. Above that, obviously eat very high quality food. And then that's more than enough. And then if you want to add some extra stuff in there, magnesium glycinate is great. I'm doing reishi right now, lion's mane, cordyceps, those are some tinctures that I'm currently playing with. I got some ailments like lavender extract, rosemary extract, those type of things. But once again, that is not like the main focus. You need to figure out what is the 80-20 in whatever you're focusing on right now. And I promise you right now, if you get sunlight, walk 10,000 steps, whole foods, and lift heavy weights 3 to 4 times a week, you will be there 80-20, 100%.
It's simple, not easy.
Simple, not easy.
That's with everything. I've also got another one. So the first one I got is, so like my two quotes. It's doing nothing consciously is better than anything unconsciously, right? And then the other one is, success is simpler than it looks, but harder than it seems. That's another one. Like people say, oh, simple, not easy, all those stuff. But like success is simpler than it looks, but harder than it seems. So essentially how I explain that is it looks from the outside in very complex. All right, it's like, what are all these systems, this SOP, this thing, this, like this message, this follow-up, and this, this Miro board, like all of this stuff, right? It's much more simpler than that. People like to make it complex, like with most things, people like to make things complex, but it's actually very, a mark of an intelligent being who can make things simple. Like that's, if you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, like you don't understand it. But also, so that's the first part, it's simpler than it looks. So it's not that complex. Like if you really boil it down, it's you email someone with an offer and they respond, yo, this is cool. And then you say, yo, here's a link, schedule a call. You open that Zoom call, you explain the service, you go through like the script or whatever, and then you ask what problems they have, you solve that with your solution, they give you money on that call, and then it's in your bank account. Like it's as simple as that. It's obviously not easy. And then the other part, it's harder than it seems. It looks pretty easy because you see the highlight reel, my journey started off 6 months ago working at McDonald's, 6 months later, like multi-6-figure agency traveling the world. But like you don't see like that dark stages that they went through because obviously wasn't filming that, just like working. So it's very harder than it seems. It's very, very tough. So that's essentially that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I'll say to that. That's good.
Got another one?
Not really. I got like agency and business. Agency and community.
I actually
We
got
can
a very, very
talk
good
about.
one to add on that.
Okay.
Exactly on that. So this is my last one. So I essentially wrote down, you are always growing. If your income isn't growing, you're growing. So like, let's say you're running a business or whatever, and your income isn't growing, like you are growing because you are going through the challenges, right? So, and then it's usually like this phase, like when you grow, then your business grows because your business is an extension of you, right? And people say that 9 out of 10 businesses fail. That's false. Like 9 out of 10 people fail, not businesses, because what we just said, like business is just people in a room. So the people fail. So when people bet on, businesses or whatever, they bet on people. They bet on founders. Like that's all meme coin stuff. Like they look at the founders. They look at their social media, everything like that. Where was I going with that? So yeah, your income, when your income is stagnating, that's not always bad because you are growing as a person. Like you are developing patience, the character traits, you are working through limiting beliefs, and you are acquiring skills. And then next year, boom, your income will probably double, 5x, whatever.
Something that I'm thinking about right now, talking about community and the agency and the business, whatever. I also realized this year that it's not always about like improvement. You seek improvement probably by two things: either a new thing or getting a better output out of your current thing that you're using. Whether it's systems or whatever. A good analogy would be going to the gym and wanting to grow your chest. Okay, then you either create a better chest workout, or you just go and analyze what are you currently doing and trying to get more out of it. And so with the business, for example, I also realized that it's not always you don't always need a better software or the better thing or whatever. It's really just about simplifying everything down and then really trying to dial in whatever you're currently working on and make sure it's the best it possibly can be. It's not always about, or maybe I just need this new software or better email thing or whatever. Sometimes it's you're not utilizing your current software enough. And I think you can get caught up, and like there's obviously time and place to swap out new things, and you always need to be in the lookout for new things. But I think you can get lost in the potential benefits of something new that you completely lose the untapped potential of the current thing you're busy with. And I think that's why feedback's so important, and just completely trying to drain out all the potential in the current resources that you currently have.
So what would you say is our main leverage activity for our business? Like let's say the School of Athens. I'd say it's two things. It's it's the school community, but like then that's also a branch into community, classrooms, calendar, all of that. And then it's the podcast.
I think you can simplify everything down to, and it seems very cliche, but just creating value. Like that's very cliche, but that's what it is.
Result of service.
I mean, that's what why do people look at our podcast? Why do people? Well, essentially and hopefully that is because you guys are receiving value from this. And so I think when we try and look at the main avenues that we can convey that value, I would say the two biggest things is the podcast. That's probably number one.
Number one, probably, yeah.
And dude, I'm telling you, like the calls are big. Like I think the calls that we have in the free community and the obviously paid community as well. Like I think the calls are very valuable. Like the course is great.
Modules, that's amazing.
Yeah. Like it's really good. It's the best I've ever been. How much hours do you think it will be? Like let's take just the first week combined. The first week.
250 hours combined. So we collectively put 250 hours, right, into 1 week, and it's free. That's insane. So that's why we are like 121 in finance after 3 months. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's pretty good. And we are growing exponentially. And we're not marketing it at all, really. Like I would say 10% is marketing. And the cool thing is, we are actually marketing constantly because our clients are doing our marketing for us.
Yeah.
And that is called referrals. And that's the only marketing that scales exponentially.
And so I think the
Organic content as well, actually.
Yeah. And so I think the two biggest things we need to focus on is obviously the podcast. Like, hopefully you guys can learn from what we're currently talking about now, but podcasts and then the calls. And I think the best thing we can do is to optimize the value that the people are getting and just continuously asking for feedback, reiterating that. And after a year from now, we'll have the best product in the business. And I truly believe that the best product will always win. It might just take some time. You know, like obviously the best known product will beat the best product, but with time, if you at least know a little bit of marketing, like your product will win.
Yeah, well, I've asked this question like multiple times, even to like Ty Lopez when I was on a call with him, like, you know, which one is better, marketing, product? And it's both. It's both. It's have the best product.
Yeah.
And what Steve Jobs also said, if you truly believe you have the best product that can solve people's problems and just create an insane amount of value, no. It's a moral duty for you to become amazing at marketing.
But I also believe, like, if you have a great product, that product will sell itself. I truly believe that. Obviously, there's a point where you have to push people over the line as well. Like, there's some psychology. Like, obviously, Andre will know that better. He's obviously a bit more in the sales. But I think, like, if like you don't think twice about buying an iPhone, well, why not? Did someone have to fucking come in there and be like, okay, this is Samsung, like this is what I have to know. You know, this is because like, it might be culture.
You didn't buy an iPhone because of an ad.
You
bought it because you had a previous iPhone.
And it's probably social proof as well. Everyone else likes it. Everyone else uses it. Like, if you walking around with a Samsung, brother, do you even have agency? Like, do you even like? It's ridiculous.
Scott Galloway said on an interview, it's so funny. He said like, if you did an iPhone, like, you know, you were just showcasing to other people that the cards weren't really dealt well to you.
Fuck, you are hating on Samsung users.
Pull that up.
But yeah, pull it up, Jamie. But
it's so funny.
Yeah.
Like, why would you have an Android? Like, everyone says this. It's like,
if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything. I don't like Samsung. Anyways, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. If you can find that, that's also, we can end it off on that.
Yeah.
But if there's a single thing that I learned from this year, is that if you are extremely clear on your goal and you truly believe it's possible, and you take ruthless action on that, you cannot fail. Because I believe success lies in taking that action in the first place. You are successful by extension of operating out of that framework. You know, it's like the entire thing from like, we'll all make it. It's like, no, we've all made it already, by continuously striving to be better.
I can't get it. That's fine.
So yeah, I think that's a good way to end it, unless you want to add anything to that.
Well, what did you just say about just doing the thing?
No, I completely forgot.
But I truly, yeah. You know, it's subjective. You know,
I completely forgot.
Belief before ability. You know, beliefs, you won't take action that are misaligned with your beliefs. I just think you will achieve it quicker. And you have to remember, like, you know, Alex Hormozi and all these people, they did the visualizations.
Alex says now he doesn't do it, but he doesn't say he's never done it.
No,
like,
he did do it.
Yeah, he 100% did do it.
Like he said he did do it.
And but also, it's like, what did he say? Like what about affirmations and shining in the mirror? What was that thing again?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Yeah.
You guys definitely know what we'll be talking about right now. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna butcher it if I say it, but yeah.
But he did that, and he realized. But the thing is, his immediate environment was his desired reality now. So then his competence gave him confidence.
Exactly. Then I don't really do that. I don't do affirmations anymore.
Not really.
Because I'm already that guy. Like, I'm already that guy.
That's what the resources said. Like, you know, in the beginning it's borderline delusion.
Yeah.
But after that, once you've got the results, it's like, like, you know, when I say I do something, I do it. So like, in the future, when I say something, it's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important to keep your word. If that's one thing you need to, you know, write down for 2025 is say stuff and do it. Write it down and do it, and actually do it. If you say you're gonna wake up at 6 a.m., wake up. Don't need the snooze button, because if you can't even wake up on time, like, how are you gonna build a business? Like, I just mentioned, it's harder than it seems. It's pretty fucking hard. And if you can't even wake up on time and sleep on time, if you can't even tell yourself to do that, like, you need to be like disciplined, conscientiousness. Discipline is one of them. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. It's like, you're not disciplined with business if you're not disciplined with your diet. It's not going to work. You need to be disciplined in all areas of life.
I'm going to take back what I previously said, and I'm going to reiterate it now. So if there's one thing that you can do right now that will change the entire trajectory of 2025 for you, is go to the School of Athens, go to the Agora of Health, like the health module, and then go to module 1.3, the cornerstone of clarity. Download that PDF. The PDF's name is the Ideal Self Manifesto. Finish that, and I promise you, if you do whatever is on that PDF every single day, after a year, you will have everything that's on the paper.
Yeah, let's just say 1 to 2 years, you'll have all of that.
But no, without a doubt. Like, I created that. I had a picture of a Hilux Legend. It's a car that I'm currently driving right now. Oh, I spoiled it. But January, I was like, there's no ways there's no chance of me buying that car. And then after 9 months of me just shouting in the mirror that I'm going to have this thing, now I have it. It's ridiculous.
What did Charlie say? Like, I told myself I was rich like 1,000 times and it happened.
So, yeah, that is us. Thank you guys for supporting us this entire year. This is obviously a recap of 2020, or what we've learned this year. And yeah, we obviously can't do anything without you guys watching this. So yeah, thanks so much for that.
And also, if you watch to the end, comment the grave emoji. I want to see how many.
Comment something different. Wait, comment the Colosseum emoji.
Good one.
And yeah, go and check down in the description, the School of Athens. Link down below. Check out the free community. Jump on a call with us every Monday. We'll have a call, 7 p.m. SAT time. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Cheers. All right, cheers. Bye-bye.
Cool.